The air in the nursery smells like milk and lavender and broken promises. It's 3 in the morning. The only light is the pale blue glow from the baby monitor, casting long, dancing shadows on the wall. Lily is asleep on my chest, her tiny body rising and falling in a rhythm that should be calming. It's not. It feels like a tiny clock, ticking away the seconds of my new, shattered life. My husband's words still hang in the air, sharp and glittering like shards of glass. "I can't do this anymore, Chloe. I'm leaving," he said it 7 days ago. 7 days after I gave him a daughter. 7 days after my body was torn apart to bring our child into the world. He stood in the doorway of this very room, his suitcase already packed and waiting by the front door. He couldn't even look at her. He couldn't look at the tiny, perfect creature we had made. He just looked at the wall above my head, his jaw tight, his eyes empty. The gun wasn't in his hand. It was in his voice. And he pointed it right at my heart. If you've ever had a moment where the world just tilted on its axis and never straightened out, tell me about it in the comments. I read every single one. And if you're new here, please subscribe. It helps more than you know to feel like I'm not just speaking into the void. Our life wasn't supposed to be a void. It was supposed to be full. We had the 5-year plan, the 10-year plan, the retire to a small house by the sea plan. We met in college, 2 ambitious kids with more dreams than money. Mark was studying business, I was in design. We were cliché, but we were our cliché. We built everything from the ground up. Our first apartment was a shoebox with a radiator that clanked like a ghost in chains. We ate ramen noodles on the floor and drew blueprints for our future on the back of napkins. He was the numbers guy, the strategist. I was the creative, the one who could see the soul in a space, the heart in a brand. Together, we started a small marketing firm. At first, it was just us, working from that same shoebox apartment. I designed logos while he cold-called potential clients. We celebrated our first big contract with cheap champagne and pizza, dancing in the living room until the downstairs neighbor banged on the ceiling with a broom. We were a team. That's what he always said. You and me, Chloe. Against the world. And for a long time, it felt true. The business grew. We moved out of the shoebox and into a real office. We hired staff. We bought a house in a quiet suburban neighborhood with a big backyard, perfect for a dog, and eventually, a child. We painted the walls a soft gray and hung photos of our travels, our wedding, our life. Each frame was a testament to our partnership, a brick in the fortress we were building. When I found out I was pregnant, he cried. He held me in the bathroom, staring at the little pink plus sign on the stick, and his shoulders shook with a joy so profound it felt sacred. "We're going to be a family," he whispered into my hair. A real family. Throughout the pregnancy, he was the perfect, doting husband. He went to every appointment, held my hand during every ultrasound, and listened with rapt attention as the doctor pointed out the flickering heartbeat, the tiny hands, the perfect spine. He read parenting books aloud to my belly and assembled the crib with a level of focus he usually reserved for quarterly reports. He was building the nursery while I was building our baby. He painted the walls a pale, buttery yellow and stenciled little gray elephants marching in a line above the baseboards. Everything was perfect, or at least the performance of perfection was flawless. Looking back, the signs were there. They were small, almost invisible cracks in the foundation. The late nights at the office became more frequent, but he always had a good reason. "Just closing a huge deal, babe. This is for us. This is for the baby." The business trips that stretched from 2 days to 4. The way he'd angle his phone away from me when a text came in. I dismissed it all. I was pregnant, hormonal, and tired. I trusted him. Trust was the bedrock of our entire life. Without it, the house, the business, the baby, none of it made sense. I chose to believe in the man who cried with joy in our bathroom, not the stranger who was slowly, quietly, packing a go-bag in the back of his mind. The birth was long and difficult. 36 hours of labor that ended in an emergency C-section. But when they placed Lily on my chest, a screaming, wrinkled, beautiful mess, none of it mattered. I looked at Mark, and his eyes were full of tears again. I thought it was the same sacred joy I'd seen before. I didn't realize it was something else entirely. Grief, maybe. Guilt. He held her for a moment, his hands looking impossibly large and clumsy. He seemed distant, disconnected. The nurses all said it was normal, that new fathers are often overwhelmed. I accepted their explanation because the alternative was unthinkable. The first week home was a blur of diapers, feeding schedules, and profound exhaustion. I was healing from major surgery. My hormones were in a freefall, and I was responsible for a fragile new life. Mark was helpful. He made meals. He did laundry. But he was quiet, a ghost in our own home. He moved with a careful, deliberate slowness, as if he was afraid of breaking something. Or maybe he was just trying not to leave any fingerprints on his way out. On the 7th day, Lily was finally sleeping, and I was sitting on the couch, staring at the wall, too tired to even form a complete thought. He came and stood in front of me. He didn't sit down. That was the first alarm bell that managed to cut through the fog. "We need to talk," he said. His voice was flat, rehearsed. I remember thinking he sounded like he was about to fire an employee. And then he did. He fired me from our life. He told me he was in love with someone else. Her name was Isabella. He said they'd been together for over a year. A year. He had been looking into her eyes while I was looking at ultrasound pictures. He had been whispering promises to her while he was reading parenting books to my belly. The entire last year of my life, the most transformative, vulnerable year, had been a lie. He said he was sorry. He said he never meant to hurt me. But the words were hollow, just sounds to fill the space between the wrecking ball and the wall. He told me he'd moved his things into a new place, an apartment downtown. He said his lawyer would be in touch about the house, the business, and he couldn't even say her name. He just gestured vaguely towards the bassinet where our daughter was sleeping. And everything else, he finished. Then he turned and walked out the door. The click of the lock turning was the loudest sound I had ever heard. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just sat there, the silence pressing in on me, my body aching, my heart a cavity in my chest. I sat there until Lily started to cry, her small, insistent wail pulling me back from the edge of the void. I picked her up, held her close, and for the first time, I felt utterly, terrifyingly alone. The first few weeks are a wasteland of time. There is no day or night, only intervals between feedings. Light bleeds into dark and back again. The house is a mausoleum of our old life. His coffee mug is still by the sink. His shoes are by the door. I can't bring myself to move them. It feels too final, like admitting he's truly gone. My body is a war zone. The incision from the C-section burns with every movement. My breasts are either painfully engorged or empty and aching. Sleep is a forgotten luxury, something people in another life get to enjoy. I catch my reflection in the darkened living room window one night, and I don't recognize the woman staring back. Her eyes are hollow, her hair is matted, and there are dark circles under her eyes like bruises. She's wearing the same spit-up-stained t-shirt she's had on for 2 days. She looks haunted. Lily is my only anchor. Her need is primal, absolute. It forces me to move, to function. I change her diaper, I feed her, I rock her. I sing lullabies in a cracked, whispery voice. Sometimes, in the dead of night, while she's nursing, I just cry. Silent, hot tears that run down my face and drip onto her tiny head. She doesn't notice. She just eats, her little mouth working diligently, her eyes closed in concentration. She is a creature of pure instinct, untainted by betrayal. Her innocence is both a comfort and a knife to the heart. I look at her perfect face, a miniature version of his, and I feel a surge of love so fierce it scares me, followed by a wave of grief so profound it threatens to drown me. My mother comes to stay for a few days. She tries to help. She cleans the kitchen, does the laundry, and cooks meals that I can't bring myself to eat. She tiptoes around the subject of Mark, her words wrapped in cotton wool. How are you holding up, sweetie? Is there anything you need? I know she means well, but her pity is suffocating. I want to scream at her that no, I am not holding up. I am falling apart. I need my husband back. I need my life back. I need to wake up from this nightmare. But I just nod and say, I'm okay, Mom. Just tired. I don't want to be a project. I don't want to be the tragic daughter whose husband left her with a newborn. So I perform a version of coping that satisfies her, and when she leaves, I collapse back into the void. The first letter from his lawyer arrives in a crisp, cream-colored envelope. It feels obscenely formal. I open it with trembling hands. The words are cold, sharp-edged. Dissolution of marriage, division of assets, custody arrangement. He is proposing a 50-50 custody split for a 3-week-old baby who is exclusively breastfeeding. The absurdity of it is almost comical. He wants to play dad for half the week while I'm left with the biological reality of being a mother. The letter also states his intention to sell the family home immediately to liquidate shared assets, my home. The home where I was supposed to raise my daughter. He wants to rip it out from under me. The financial panic begins to set in, a cold, creeping dread that settles in my stomach. Our finances were always intertwined. The business, our savings, our mortgage, it was all ours, but he was the one who managed it. I trusted him. I was the creative, he was the numbers guy. I realize with a sickening lurch that I have no idea how much money we have or where it is. I have been a willing passenger in my own life, and the driver just jumped out of the car. I have to find a lawyer. The thought is exhausting. It means making calls, telling my story over and over again to strangers. It means admitting that this is real, that this is happening. I find a woman online, a family law attorney named Sarah with kind eyes in her profile picture. I call her office and her assistant schedules a consultation. I have to bring Lily with me. I pack the diaper bag with a military precision I didn't know I possessed. Diapers, wipes, bottles of pumped milk, a change of clothes, a pacifier. It feels like preparing for a battle. I sit in Sarah's plush office, Lily sleeping in her car seat beside me, and I tell her everything. The story spills out of me, a jumbled, tear-soaked mess. She listens patiently, her expression unreadable. When I'm done, she just nods. Okay, she says, her voice calm and steady. He can't force you to sell the house right now. And 50-50 custody of a newborn is not going to happen. But we need to be prepared. This is going to get ugly, she was right. Mark's cruelty escalates. It's no longer the passive cruelty of his absence, but an active, targeted campaign. He cancels the credit card I used for groceries without telling me. I'm standing at the checkout line, a cart full of diapers and formula, and the card is declined. The shame is a physical heat that spreads across my face. I have to leave the full cart and walk out of the store, my eyes burning. I call him, my voice shaking with rage. Why, Mark? Why would you do that? His voice is cold, detached. We need to separate our finances, Chloe. It's cleaner this way, cleaner. As if our life together was just a mess he needed to wipe up. He starts communicating only through his lawyer. The letters become more frequent, more demanding. He wants an inventory of the house's contents. He claims the expensive ergonomic chair I use for my design work is a business asset, and he needs it back for the office. He is systematically dismantling our life, piece by piece, and with it, my sanity. Friends try to help. They bring over casseroles and offer to watch Lily so I can get some sleep. But I can see the judgment in some of their eyes. The unspoken questions. What did you do? What went wrong? They were our friends, a couple. Now they're forced to choose sides, and I can feel the ground shifting beneath me. Some of their texts become less frequent. Invitations to social gatherings stop coming. I am becoming a social pariah, the sad, single mom no one knows what to do with. One night, I'm scrolling through social media, a masochistic habit I can't seem to break. I see a photo posted by a mutual acquaintance. It's a group shot from a party. And there, in the background, is Mark. He has his arm around a woman. She's beautiful, of course. Long dark hair, a confident smile. She's laughing, her head thrown back. They look happy, carefree. My breath catches in my throat. I zoom in on the picture. It's her, Isabella. Seeing her face is like being stabbed. This is the woman my husband chose over me, over our daughter. This is the woman who was living a secret life with him while I was swollen and sick and growing his child. The rage that fills me is white-hot. It burns away the grief and the exhaustion, leaving behind something hard and sharp. I save the picture. I don't know why. Maybe just to remind myself that my enemy has a face. The legal battle intensifies. Mark's lawyer is aggressive, relentless. They file a motion to force the sale of the house, claiming I am being uncooperative and emotionally unstable. They use my postpartum state against me, twisting my grief into a weapon. They suggest I'm an unfit mother, that my hormonal imbalances are a danger to Lily. It's a low, disgusting blow, and it lands exactly where it was intended. I start to doubt myself. Am I unstable? Am I a good mother? The sleepless nights and the constant stress are taking their toll. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Sarah, my lawyer, is my rock. This is standard procedure for guys like him, she tells me during a late-night phone call. They try to bully you into submission. Don't let him. You are a great mother. You are stronger than you think. I want to believe her, but it's hard when the world feels like it's collapsing around me. The financial pressure is immense. My savings are dwindling, eaten up by legal fees and daily expenses. Mark has frozen our joint business account, claiming it's a necessary legal step. I know it's just another way to control me, to starve me out. I have to start taking on freelance design work again, working late into the night after Lily is asleep, my eyes burning from staring at the screen. I'm exhausted on a cellular level. I feel like a ghost rattling around in the empty shell of my life. Every day is a struggle just to put one foot in front of the other. The future I had so carefully planned is gone, replaced by a terrifying, uncertain void. And in the middle of it all, there is Lily, my beautiful, innocent daughter. She is the reason I fight, the reason I get out of bed every morning. But sometimes, when I look at her, all I can see is him, and the weight of his betrayal feels like it's going to crush me. The nights are the worst. After Lily is finally asleep, the silence of the house becomes a living thing. It breathes in the corners, whispers from the empty side of the bed. This is when the memories come, unbidden and cruel. I remember our first date, how he made me laugh so hard that soda came out of my nose. I remember him holding my hand in the hospital waiting room when my father was having surgery. I remember the look on his face on our wedding day, a look of such pure, unadulterated love that I thought it could never fade. Where did that man go? Was he ever real, or was he just a character I invented, a story I told myself? I spend hours going through old photo albums, searching for clues, for the moment it all went wrong. Here we are in Paris, smiling in front of the Eiffel Tower. Here we are on a hiking trip, covered in mud and grinning. Here we are at our wedding, dancing our first dance. In every photo, he looks happy. He looks like he's in love. The cognitive dissonance is staggering. How can that man be the same one who walked out on his newborn child? How can the man who held me and promised me forever be the same one who is now trying to take my home, my security, my daughter? His lawyer sends a new demand. They want to depose me. They want to put me in a room and question me under oath for hours, trying to poke holes in my story, trying to paint me as a liar, as a hysterical woman. Sarah warns me it will be brutal. They'll ask about your mental health, your spending habits, your parenting skills. They'll try to twist everything. The thought of it makes me physically ill. I feel like an animal caught in a trap, the steel jaws closing in tighter and tighter. I'm running out of money. The retainer I paid Sarah is almost gone. Freelance work is sporadic, and the bills keep coming. The mortgage, the utilities, the car payment. It's a relentless tide, and I'm drowning. I have to ask my parents for a loan. The shame of it is a bitter pill to swallow. I've been independent my whole adult life. I was a successful business owner, a partner. Now I'm a charity case. My father transfers the money without a word, but I can hear the disappointment in his silence. One afternoon, Lily is napping, and I'm sitting at the dining room table, surrounded by stacks of paper. Bank statements, legal documents, tax returns. Sarah told me to go through everything, to look for anything that seems out of place. It feels like an impossible task. The numbers blur together, a meaningless jumble of debits and credits. Mark handled all of this. I just signed where he told me to sign. What a fool I was. I feel a fresh wave of anger, not just at him, but at myself. For being so trusting, so naive. For handing over my power so willingly. I'm about to give up, to just shove it all back in the box and go to sleep when I see it. A folder at the bottom of the pile labeled Investment Properties. I vaguely remember it. Years ago, when the business first started making real money, Mark suggested we invest in real estate. We bought a small condo downtown, a foreclosure that we got for a good price. We held on to it for a couple of years as a rental property. But then Mark told me the market had turned and we were losing money on it. He said he'd found a buyer and we should sell, even at a small loss, just to get out from under it. I remember signing the papers. I didn't even read them. I just trusted him. I opened the folder. Inside are the original purchase documents, the deed, the mortgage agreement. My name is right there next to his. Chloe and Mark Reynolds, joint tenants. I keep digging. I find property tax statements. But they're not from years ago. They're current. From last year. From this year. My heart starts to pound in my chest. If we sold it, why are we still paying property taxes? I pull out my laptop and type the address into the county's public records database. My fingers are shaking so hard I can barely type. The page loads. And there it is. Current owners, Chloe Reynolds and Mark Reynolds. He never sold it. He lied. The papers I signed. What did I sign? A power of attorney? A quitclaim deed that he never filed? It doesn't matter. The property is still in both of our names. And the address, it's a luxury building in the heart of the city. The same area he said his new apartment was in. The realization hits me like a physical blow. It knocks the air out of my lungs. He's been living there. This wasn't a new apartment he rented after he left me. This was our apartment. Our asset. He's been living there with her in a property that is half mine, and he's been lying about it for years. The betrayal is so much deeper than I ever imagined. This wasn't a simple affair of the heart. This was a calculated, long-term deception. A financial conspiracy designed to defraud me. He was building a nest for his new life using our money, my money. The sadness that has been my constant companion for months evaporates, burned away by a pure, cold rage. The fog in my head clears. The victim is gone. In her place is a woman with a weapon. He thinks he's cornered me. He thinks I'm broken. He has no idea. The game has just changed. And I'm going to burn his entire world to the ground. My first instinct is to call Sarah, to scream the news over the phone. But I stop myself. My hand hovers over the keypad, a new kind of thinking taking over. The old Chloe would have reacted emotionally, immediately. She would have confronted Mark, righteous and furious, and shown him her hand. The new Chloe, the one forged in the fire of the last few months, is colder. More strategic.
Mark taught me that.
He taught me that the person who controls the information controls the game. For the first time since he left, I feel a flicker of something that isn't pain or despair. It's power. I close the folder and put it back in the box, hiding it at the very bottom. I spend the rest of the day in a state of hyperclarity. Every action is precise. I feed Lily, I change her, I bathe her. But my mind is working, turning over this new piece of information like a jeweler examining a rare gem. It's not just a condo. It's leverage. It's proof of premeditation. It's a lie so profound it will undermine his entire case. His narrative is that the marriage fell apart recently, that he just fell out of love. This condo, this long-term financial deception, proves he was planning his exit for years. He wasn't just cheating on me. He was systematically divesting from our life together while pretending to build it. When I finally speak to Sarah the next day, my voice is calm. I lay out the facts. The folder, the deed, the tax records. I can hear the sharp intake of her breath on the other end of the line. Chloe, she says, and her voice is filled with a new kind of respect. This is it. This is the silver bullet. She tells me we can file a motion immediately, expose him in court. But I have another idea. No, I say, the word tasting strange and powerful in my mouth. Not yet.
He thinks I'm weak.
He thinks I'm about to break. Let's let him think that. Let's let him get arrogant. Sarah is quiet for a moment. Then she says, "What do you have in mind?" I tell her my plan. It's audacious. It's risky. But it feels right. Instead of exposing the condo, we're going to use it. We're going to gather more information. I want to know everything. I want to know when he moved in there. I want to know when she moved in there. I want to know how they've been paying for it. Our joint accounts don't show any mortgage payments for that property. That means he has another bank account. A secret one. This is bigger than just the condo. This is a whole secret financial life. Sarah recommends a private investigator, a man named Frank who is discreet and thorough. He's expensive. He costs the last of the money my parents loaned me, and then some. I have to sell my grandmother's necklace, a piece of jewelry I was saving for Lily. As I hand it over to the jeweler, I feel a pang of guilt, but it's quickly replaced by a cold resolve. This is an investment in my daughter's future. Frank is a gruff, no-nonsense man who looks like he's seen it all. I meet him in a sterile coffee shop and lay out what I know and what I need. I give him the address of the condo. I give him Mark's photo, Isabella's photo. I want to know their routine, I tell him. I want to know everything. He just nods, takes my check, and says, "I'll be in touch." While Frank does his work, I have to play a part. I have to be the broken, desperate woman Mark expects me to be. During negotiations through our lawyers, I become more pliant. I agree to mediation. I make small concessions on personal property, letting him have the stupid ergonomic chair and a few other things he claimed were his. His lawyer's tone becomes more confident, more condescending. I can feel Mark's arrogance growing across the distance. He thinks he's winning. He thinks he's grinding me down. He has no idea that I'm not the one in the trap anymore. He is. Frank's first report arrives a week later in a plain manila envelope. My hands shake as I open it. It's full of photographs and typewritten pages detailing their lives. There are pictures of them coming and going from the condo building, holding hands. Pictures of them at a fancy restaurant, laughing and drinking wine. Pictures of them grocery shopping, looking like any other normal couple. Each photo is a fresh stab of pain, but it's a clarifying pain. It fuels my anger, solidifies my resolve. The report confirms that they both have key fobs to the building and a designated parking spot. They are living there as a couple. Frank also managed to get financial information. He found the secret bank account. Mark had been diverting funds from our business for over 2 years, siphoning money into this account to pay the mortgage and expenses on the condo. The scale of the deception is breathtaking. He didn't just steal my future, he stole my past, too. He used the profits from my work, my creativity, to build a life with another woman. The weeks leading up to the mediation are the hardest of my life. I am living a double life. To the outside world, and especially to Mark and his lawyer, I am a woman on the verge of collapse. I cry during phone calls with his attorney. I sound exhausted and defeated. But inside, I am a coiled spring. I am studying Frank's reports like a general studying a battlefield map. I know their schedule. I know where they eat, where they shop. I know that Isabella works as a yoga instructor and that Mark bought her a brand new car 3 months before Lily was born. He bought her a car with our money while I was buying a bassinet. The stress is immense. There are days when the mask slips, when the grief and rage become too much to bear. I break down in the shower, sobbing until the water runs cold. I hold Lily and apologize to her for the mess her life has become, for the father who doesn't deserve her. But then I look at her face, her trusting eyes, and I put the mask back on. I am fighting for her. I will not fail. My relationship with Sarah transforms. We are no longer just lawyer and client. We are a team, co-conspirators in this strange, high-stakes game. We have late-night strategy sessions over the phone after Lily is asleep. We go over every detail of the plan. She prepares the legal documents, each one a perfectly crafted weapon, ready to be deployed. She is impressed by my cold-blooded focus. "You've changed, Chloe," she tells me one night. He has no idea who he's dealing with anymore. I haven't changed. I've just become the person I needed to be to survive. The soft, trusting woman he married is gone. He killed her. And he has no one to blame but himself for the woman who has taken her place. The day of the mediation arrives. It's a gray, drizzly morning that matches my mood. I choose my outfit carefully. Not a power suit. That's not the role I'm playing. I wear a simple gray dress, something that makes me look tired and washed out. I wear minimal makeup. I want to look like a victim. I want them to underestimate me. My mother comes to watch Lily. As I kiss my daughter goodbye, her little hand wrapping around my finger, I feel a surge of pure, primal love. "This is for you," I whisper. "Everything is for you." I walk into the mediator's office building, and my heart is pounding a frantic rhythm against my ribs. This is it. This is where it all ends. Sarah meets me in the lobby. She gives my hand a reassuring squeeze. "You ready?" she asks. I nod. "I'm not ready."
I'm terrified.
"But I'm going to do it anyway." We walk into the conference room. And there they are. Mark and Isabella. She's sitting next to him, her hand resting possessively on his arm. She's even more beautiful in person. She looks at me with an expression of pity mixed with contempt. It's the look of a woman who believes she has won. Mark won't meet my eyes. He just stares at the polished surface of the conference table. His lawyer, a slick man with a shark smile, stands up to greet us. The air in the room is thick with tension. The building holds its breath. The performance of a lifetime is about to begin. The conference room is cold and sterile. It smells of stale coffee and industrial carpet cleaner. We sit on one side of the long mahogany table. Sarah and I, Mark, Isabella, and his lawyer, Mr. Davies, sit on the other. Isabella isn't supposed to be here. Her presence is a power play, a deliberate act of cruelty designed to intimidate me. She's wearing a crisp white blazer, her dark hair pulled back in a sleek ponytail. She looks confident, serene. She has the glow of a woman who has everything she wants. She has my husband, my money, and soon, she believes, she will have the last remnants of my old life. The mediator, a tired-looking man named Gary, explains the process. He drones on about finding common ground, about amicable solutions. I barely hear him. My focus is entirely on Mark. He still won't look at me. He fiddles with his pen, his knuckles white. He looks pale, stressed.
Good.
Let him feel a fraction of the agony he's put me through. Davies begins. He launches into a speech about Mark's generosity, his desire for a fair and equitable split. He slides a folder across the table. "This is our final offer," he says, his voice smooth as oil. Sarah opens it. I already know what's inside. It's an insult. They are offering me a sliver of the business's value, claiming that its recent growth is entirely due to Mark's efforts since our separation. They are offering me a small amount of equity from the house, contingent on its immediate sale. And they're sticking to their demand for 50-50 custody. It's an offer designed for a woman they believe is desperate, a woman who will take any scraps they throw her way. Sarah reads through it, her expression neutral. Then she closes the folder and pushes it back across the table. "This is not a serious offer," she says, her voice calm and firm. Davies chuckles, a condescending little sound. "With all due respect, Sarah, your client is not in a strong negotiating position. She has no income, and frankly, her emotional state is a concern. This offer is more than generous." This is my cue. I let out a small, shaky breath. I let a tear slide down my cheek. I look at Mark, finally forcing him to meet my gaze. "How could you do this, Mark?" I whisper, my voice cracking. "After everything. We built that business together. That's our home." "Lily's home," he flinches. He looks away, back at the table. Isabella puts her hand on his back, a gesture of silent support. Her eyes, however, are fixed on me, and they are cold as ice. "Chloe, let's be realistic," Davies says, taking over. "Mark is the primary driver of the business. You were a designer. A talented one, to be sure. But Mark is the one who brings in the clients, who manages the finances." "I see," Sarah says, her voice still perfectly level. So, financial management is Mark's area of expertise. That's correct, Davies says, puffing out his chest. He has an impeccable head for numbers. That's interesting, Sarah says. She reaches into her briefcase and pulls out a thick, bound document. She places it on the table with a soft thud. Because his impeccable head for numbers seems to have missed a few things, she slides the document across the table. It's a copy of Frank's complete report. Financial statements from the secret bank account, timelines, photographs. Everything. Davies opens it. His smug expression falters as he flips through the first few pages. He stops at a picture of Mark and Isabella kissing on the balcony of the condo. He looks up at Mark, his eyes wide with disbelief. Mark's face has gone ashen. He looks like he's going to be sick. What is this? Davies sputters. That, Sarah says, is a record of the marital assets your client has been hiding for the last 2 years. Specifically, a condominium at 1250 Market Street, purchased with marital funds and paid for with money illegally diverted from the business bank account. A business, I might add, that my client co-owns. The room is silent. The only sound is the frantic rustling of paper as Davies flips through the report. Isabella has snatched it from him and is staring at the photos, her perfectly made-up face a mask of confusion and dawning horror. She looks from the pictures to Mark. What is this, Mark? What is she talking about? She demands, her voice a harsh whisper. Mark can't speak. He just stares at the report as if it's a venomous snake. Mr. Reynolds purchased this property 5 years ago, Sarah continues, her voice cutting through the tension. He told my client it was sold at a loss 2 years ago. That was a lie. He has been maintaining it ever since, using it as a personal residence. He has failed to disclose this asset during discovery, which, as you know, is perjury and fraud. Davies has recovered slightly. He's trying to bluster his way through. This is an outrageous accusation. This evidence it's inadmissible. It was clearly obtained illegally. Oh, it's all perfectly legal, Sarah says with a thin smile. Public records, bank subpoenas, and the work of a licensed private investigator. It will stand up in court. And we are, of course, prepared to file charges of fraud and embezzlement. That should be fun to explain to your business clients. Mark finally looks at me. His eyes are pleading. He is seeing the woman he thought he had broken, and in her place is a stranger, a cold-eyed executioner. He has no idea how much worse it's about to get. This was just the opening salvo. Isabella is the one I'm watching. Her composure is cracking. The serene confidence is gone, replaced by a frantic, nervous energy. She's staring at the deed to the condo, which is included in the report. She sees my name, Chloe Reynolds, right next to his. Her eyes narrow. She looks at Mark, a silent, furious question in her gaze. You told me you bought it after you separated, she hisses, her voice low and dangerous. It's complicated, Mark stammers. Oh, it's not complicated at all, Sarah says brightly. It's actually very simple. Which brings us to our next point. She reaches into her briefcase again and pulls out a single sheet of paper. She hands it not to Mark or his lawyer, but directly to Isabella. Ms. Vance, this is for you. Isabella takes the paper, her hand trembling slightly. She reads it. Her perfectly arched eyebrows shoot up. Her mouth falls open. A small, strangled gasp escapes her lips. She reads it again, as if she can't believe the words on the page. Then she looks up, her eyes wide with pure, unadulterated shock. She looks at me, then at Mark, then back at me. The look of pity is gone. The contempt is gone. All that's left is horror. What is it? Davies demands, trying to snatch the paper from her. It's an eviction notice, Sarah announces to the room. The words hang in the air, sharp and deadly. As a 50% owner of the property at 1250 Market Street, my client, Ms. Reynolds, is exercising her legal right. Ms. Vance is residing on the property without a lease agreement with both owners. Therefore, her tenancy is terminated. She has 30 days to vacate the premises. The silence that follows is absolute. It's so complete, I can hear the hum of the fluorescent lights overhead. Mark looks like he's been punched in the gut. Davies is speechless, his mouth opening and closing like a fish. But Isabella, her reaction is everything I had hoped for and more. The color drains from her face. Her perfect, serene world, the one built on my money and my husband's lies, has just been detonated. She turns to Mark, her eyes blazing with a fury that is almost magnificent. "You told me it was your apartment," she screams, her voice echoing in the small room. "You told me her name was just on some old paperwork. You told me it was taken care of." "Isabella, calm down," Mark says, reaching for her hand. She snatches it away, as if his touch burns her. "Don't you touch me. You lied to me. You let me build a life with you in an apartment that you co-own with your wife. The wife you told me was crazy and unstable. Who's the crazy one now, Mark?" "Furthermore," Sarah says, her voice cutting cleanly through Isabella's tirade, "we will be filing a motion for sole occupancy of the condominium for Ms. Reynolds and her infant daughter, given that Mr. Reynolds has a second residence, this family home, which he has been trying to force my client out of. We will also be filing a civil suit for back rent for Mr. Reynolds's unauthorized use of my client's 50% share of the asset for the past 2 years, at the full market rate." She names a number that makes Mark visibly recoil. This is the final blow. Isabella stands up so abruptly that her chair scrapes loudly against the floor. She throws the eviction notice on the table. It lands right in front of Mark. "You can have the apartment," she spits, her voice dripping with venom. "You can have all of it." She grabs her purse, her hands shaking with rage. She doesn't even look at him as she storms out of the room, slamming the door behind her. The room is quiet again. Mark stares at the closed door, his face a mixture of shock, despair, and humiliation. His perfect new life just walked out on him. His lawyer, Mr. Davies, looks utterly defeated. He closes the report and pushes it away from him. He takes off his glasses and rubs the bridge of his nose. "I believe," he says, his voice hoarse, "that we may have a basis for a new negotiation." I look at Mark, the man who stood in my nursery and shattered my world with a few casual, cruel sentences. The man who tried to leave me with nothing.
He looks small now.
Pathetic. He finally raises his eyes to meet mine. There is no anger in them. No fight. Just the hollow, empty look of absolute defeat. I feel nothing.
No pity. No satisfaction.
Just a quiet, cold emptiness. The battle is over. I won. The aftermath is not a victory parade. It's quiet and it's messy. There is no triumphant moment, no grand finale. There is just the slow, methodical process of untangling a life. The new settlement is signed quickly. Davies, stripped of all his leverage, agrees to all of our terms. I get the house free and clear. I get a majority stake in the business, the one I helped build from the ground up. I get a generous child support agreement and a life insurance policy that names Lily as the sole beneficiary. Mark gets to keep his car and a small portion of his personal savings. And he gets the condo. Or rather, he gets the responsibility of selling it. As per our agreement, the property is to be sold immediately, and the proceeds are split 50-50ths after he pays me the 2 years of back rent he owes me. He tries to talk to me once after the papers are signed. He calls me, his voice thick with a self-pity that I find nauseating. "Chloe, I'm sorry," he says. "I messed everything up. I was a fool. The words are meaningless to me now."
They are just sounds.
"I'm not interested in your apology, Mark," I say, my voice flat and devoid of emotion. "Just sell the condo and transfer the money. That's all I want from you." I hang up before he can say anything else. There is nothing left to say. I hear through the grapevine that Isabella never went back to him. She moved out of the condo that week and disappeared from his life as quickly as she had entered it. I should feel a sense of satisfaction, of schadenfreude. But I don't. She was a symptom, not the disease. The disease was Mark's weakness, his selfishness, his bottomless capacity for deception. Her heartbreak is just collateral damage in the explosion he created. The check from the sale of the condo arrives a few months later. It's for a substantial amount of money. Enough to give me and Lily a cushion, a sense of security I haven't felt in a long time. I deposit it in the bank, and it feels like closing the final chapter of a long, terrible book. Life finds a new rhythm, a quieter one. The house, which once felt so empty and haunted, begins to feel like home again. My home. Lily's home. I turn Mark's old office into a playroom for her. I pack up the last of his things, the books, the clothes, the photos, and put them in the garage. I will deal with them someday, but not today. Today, I am focused on moving forward. I take over the management of the business. It's terrifying at first. I've always been the creative, not the numbers person. But I learn. I hire a good accountant. I discover that I have a knack for it, a head for strategy that I never knew I possessed. The business thrives under my leadership. It becomes something that is truly mine. There are good days and bad days. There are days when I watch Lily learn to crawl or say her first word, and my heart aches with a phantom limb sort of pain, a longing for the family I was supposed to have. There are days when I see a happy couple walking down the street, and the grief ambushes me, sharp and unexpected. But the bad days become less frequent. The waves of sadness are smaller, further apart. They no longer threaten to pull me under. I learn to find joy in small things. The smell of coffee in the morning, the sound of Lily's laughter, the feeling of the sun on my face as I push her on the swings at the park. I reconnect with the friends who stuck by me. I make new ones, other single mothers who understand the unique challenges and triumphs of this life. I am no longer the tragic victim. I am a survivor. I am a mother. I am a business owner. I am whole on my own. One evening, about a year after he left, I am giving Lily her bath. She is splashing in the water, her face alight with pure, uncomplicated joy. The buttery yellow walls of the nursery that he painted seemed to glow in the warm light. For a long time, I hated this room. I hated the stenciled elephants he had so carefully placed on the walls. They felt like a monument to his lies. But tonight, watching my daughter, I see it differently. He didn't build this room for her. He built it as part of a performance. But his intentions don't matter anymore. Because this room is not his. It's hers. This house is not ours. It's ours, mine and Lily's. We're the ones who fill it with life, with laughter, with love. He is just a ghost here, a faint memory that is fading with each passing day. I lift Lily out of the tub and wrap her in a fluffy towel. She rests her damp head on my shoulder, her little body warm and heavy against mine. I breathe in the smell of her, that perfect baby smell of soap and clean skin. And in that moment, I feel a sense of peace, so profound it brings tears to my eyes. They are not tears of sadness or anger. They are tears of gratitude. For this child, for my strength, for the quiet, beautiful, hard-won life we are building together from the ashes of the old one. He didn't just break my heart. He broke me open. And in the cracks, something new and stronger began to grow. If this story resonated with you, if you've ever had to find the strength to rebuild, I'd love to hear about it. Subscribing helps me continue to share these stories, to turn pain into something we can all learn from. Thank you for being here with me tonight.